The sun circling the Antarctica. This will quickly, guys. Wow, so guys, if the sun is not at one place but circling the Antarctica, then it means that there's something wrong with our system. Some things we know is natural are not that natural at all. Yes, I'm not surprised. Okay. Wow. Guys, all these are all symbols that are just being thrown to us. These are all satanic signs. That shows that not all logos or trademarks are really from what we know, but they are all satanic source.
This is who rules the world.
Okay, eyes, guys. Look at it like. Wow. Wow, look at eyes, guys. Oh.
Creepy.
Guys, these things are very freaky, guys. And this makes you question so many things around us. Who really rules the world?
Facts you didn't know about. When you have a S3's wall dream, it means a demon is trying to communicate with you or it's trying to hurt you. Next time, pay attention. For example, your back hurts. It could mean it's trying to break your spine. If you wake up with random cuts or bruises, it could have been the demons. Demons try to scare mainly women. Have you ever heard your mom calling but she never actually called you? That's a demon mocking her to bring you to another dimension. Ghosts can see your future. Sometimes they want to tell us through our dreams. Ghosts can use a living human body to communicate with other people. People who die in accident or crimes without justice, their ghost appear in scary form of image. In 2007, a woman died after consuming over 1.5 gallons of water in 3 hours. She did so in order to win a radio contest.
Stop.
Guys, so you can also see that at times the dreams that we have having sexual intercourse in dreams and waking up from bed with all the scars on our skin can also depict that they can be what we've consumed the day before that. It can be a movie we've watched. It can also be that your bed can also be a cause with the cut or the bruises on the skin. So at times, to my belief, it's not always something that relates to things of the spirit. Some can be just natural causes.
Speaking about life for a second, look at this image. You are literally a single cell that is wearing armor and grew a lot. Your whole brain, your spinal column, is this, but bigger. You added some meat. And we walk around our whole lives thinking that we are the meat. This stuff, it's all temporary. It's all rented. Our payment is time. So more than anything, this is a call for people to stop reducing God to a single book. Because you think the infinite is gonna just be in a single book. Yes, it can tell you about that, but you can't even think about what the infinite is. We can't even think about what we are. And when you figure out what you are, you will figure out what God is.
Man, she says something here that's pretty mind-blowing. Watch this.
Why is it when God wanted to create fish, he spoke to the sea? When God wanted to create trees, he spoke to the earth. When he wanted to create us, he spoke to himself. What happens when you take a fish out of the sea? It dies. What happens when you take a tree out of soil? It dies. What happens when we become disconnected from God? We die. God is our natural environment. We were created to live in the presence of God. It is only in him that life exists.
Apart
Wow, this is so deep, guys. So it's very important that we remember what she said, guys. So our source is from God, and if we are not dependent on him, it means we don't have life at all.
from the author of life, there is no life. This is why the Bible says, in him we live, in him we move, in him we have our being. And if you agree, type Jesus is King in the comments.
Did Hollywood get it right?
Jesus is confronted by a man possessed by demons who identify themselves as Legion, for we are many. He cast out the demons, who then possess a nearby herd of swine. Immediately, the entire herd goes crazy and commits mass suicide by stampeding down a hillside and off a cliff into the sea. The seas have always belonged to him. It's his domain. Why did Jesus walk on water? To show his power over the devil. Moses parting the sea, same thing. Book of Revelation, all the dragons and dragons and the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Where do they come from? They rise from the sea.
What they're
Guys, I think Hollywood was right. Biblically, it's in line. Yeah, that is my opinion, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section.
claiming is that they went 1,000 times farther than they can send astronauts today. 50 years ago, on the first attempt, with 1/1,000,000th the computing power of a cell phone. I mean, when they flew across the Atlantic for the first time, a few years later, hundreds of aircraft and thousands of aircraft were flying across the Atlantic. When they went to the North Pole and South Pole here on Earth, they never made it the first attempt. It took multiple times. And so here we are 50 years later, and now the farthest they can send an astronaut to the moon is 1,000th the distance that they claim to have done on the first attempt 50 years ago with less computing power than a cell phone, 1/1,000,000th of the computing power. It just doesn't add up.
People with darker skin, people from maybe Africa or India or South Asia, they're more equatorial regions. They're closer to the equator, and there's more UVB radiation throughout the year. And so as a protective mechanism to not get burned, you have melanin, which protects you, right? The problem is that melanin also blocks your ability to produce vitamin D. But if you're out in the sun all the time, in a place where you're getting UVB radiation, it's not a problem.
Well, this is the very reason why people in places like Scotland and England have such pale skin.
Exactly.
It's cloudy all the time, so your body sort of develops its own ability to absorb more vitamin
Exactly. So what happens when you take what happens when you take a person from South Asia, from India, from Africa, and you put them in Sweden or in Minnesota or in the UK, a place where UVB radiation doesn't hit most of the year, and you don't give them a supplement? What happens is they become severely vitamin D deficient. Severely. Okay, what happens when you take the guy from the UK, the Brit, and put him in Australia, like without any sunscreen or without a hat
They
or
get
never?
cancer.
They're gonna, yeah.
Have you seen the
Well, guys, so I think that you see, we are all in our right location, because as an African like me, where we are, this UV radiation hits very often. That's why we have the melanin on our skin. So that's why we can resist the sun, because that is where we are But someone from UK who don't have such kind of radiation comes to Africa, I see them always suffering. I see them always finding themselves because of the heat that comes from the sun. So we are at the right location at the right time.
Experiment that showed if people were followers or independent people.
I feel like this is going to expose like so many people.
Yeah, so there are a bunch of paid actors in a doctor's office, and there was only one real patient. And in this doctor's office, every few minutes they would ring a bell. And when this bell rang, all the hired actors would stand up for no reason and sit back down. And they continued to do this a bunch of times, and this really confused the real patient because she has no idea what they're doing. What's crazy is after seeing all the paid actors stand up and sit down a bunch of times, the real patient started to follow them. And whenever the bell rang, she would stand and sit down, and she had no idea why she was doing it. She was just following everybody. So then she keeps on doing it with all the paid actors, and they start to remove the paid actors from the doctor's office one at a time. So now it's just the real patient by herself in the room, and you could still see she's still standing and sitting every time the bell rings.
They exposed her bad.
Yeah, and then a new patient walks in that's also not a hired actor, so it's a real patient. And every time the bell rings, he sees this random girl standing and sitting down randomly. So then the new patient starts doing it with her.
Would you believe
That this is really a creepy experiment? So it is very clear we are followers, but this kind of rat race followers need to be broken. Yeah, because we can't just follow a herd that we have no idea about.
me if I told you that it's literally documented that they used to host seances at the White House? The White House is literally haunted. Franklin Pierce was the 14th president of the United States, and after he and his wife lost their son in a train accident, the wife became desperate for answers. That's when she invited the Fox sisters, who were like a family of mediums, to the White House to host a seance so that she can communicate with him again. And that's just the beginning, because it wasn't until the Lincolns moved in that hosting seances actually became a regular occurrence. It's documented that the Lincolns hosted as many as 8 seances while they were in office, and the White House was never the same after this. After Lincoln was assassinated, it's theorized that his soul got trapped inside the White House. So many people who have stayed at the White House have claimed to have seen Lincoln's ghost that he is officially known as the White House ghost. There's this story about Winston Churchill. So he's staying at the White House one night, and apparently one of his favorite ways to relax at night is to take a bath with a cigar and a glass of wine. So he's taking this bath in one of the White House suites, and he gets out butt naked in order to go and get one of his cigars. He goes into the next room to get a match, and to his surprise, he sees President Lincoln leaning on the fireplace mantle. And embarrassed and naked, Churchill goes, "Mr. President, you seem to have caught me at a disadvantage." Lincoln turns around, looks at him, chuckles, and then just disappears.
Oh, guys, it's serious. Well, let's hear that. Wow, bill is king. There's a bill here. Case witness.
This is fucked. When you scroll on TikTok, every single time your eyes go like this, it actually increases your dopamine.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they perfectly made TikTok so that it stimulates our eyes to increase dopamine. You can imagine we're scrolling like this.
Yeah.
Fam.
Always.
Up and down, up and down. Wow. Every single time our eyes go up and down. If you do this up and down for like 5 minutes, you'll feel happy. Go do it. Up and down, up and down. Yeah, keep doing it. You get excited? Tell me you get excited, fam. I swear to God, it's crazy.
That's fuck.
Crazy shit, right? They scientifically knew that. There's no reason TikTok couldn't be like horizontal.
Yeah, you know, when they switched Instagram to this,
yeah,
it was like some random day where
to the right.
To the right.
Yeah, they were trying to do like Tinder. It didn't work.
It didn't hit.
It didn't hit. The moment they did up and down, it started hitting.
Damn.
Yeah.
Every dating app.
Yeah.
It's like this, no?
Dating app is side to
like
side.
This.
This is fucked too. When you put your eyes side to side, what happens?
I don't know what happens.
It stimulates your pleasure and relaxation.
Yo, man.
You know the cat clocks that go eye to eye?
Yeah.
That's made to like make you calm. I mean, it's made to like give that setting, give that vibe of the room.
What the fuck?
It's side to side, side to side.
That's so smart though. I didn't know that.
Wow, guys, this is really, really impressive. No wonder why TikTok, when it came, it just blew out, because they knew this scientific trick. That's why we tend to scroll up and down. Amazing trick. That's why even YouTube is doing that, and now most social media applications are now dabbing the same trick. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.